You are watching Eswatini TV. Sibuko Semaswati.
A very good afternoon and welcome to your favorite tele-education program, Home Study. My name is Lirato Mabilisa, and also joining me in the studio is my colleague Nogwazi Dlamini and the sign language interpreter Nomcebo Dlamini. A very good afternoon, Nogwazi. How are you today?
A very good afternoon, Lerato. A very good afternoon to our viewers back at home. I am doing really, really good. How are you?
I'm all right.
All right. We're hoping that you guys are ready for a day of learning on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. What does our day look like?
Right. From 2 p.m. until 2:30 p.m. we have the grade 1 and 2 lesson, which is English language. From 2:30 p.m. until 3 p.m. we have the grade 1 and 2 lesson, which is religious education. From 3 p.m. until 3:30 p.m. we have the grade 3 and 4 lesson, which is mathematics. From 3:30 p.m. until 4 p.m. we have the form 1 and 2 lesson, which is mathematics. From 4 p.m. until 4:30 p.m. we have the religious education lesson for the form 4 learners. The last lesson from 4:30 p.m. until 5 p.m. is biology for the form 4 learners.
A very busy day as always for you guys, and a reminder that we are live right now on YouTube and on Facebook, so you can catch us guys on those platforms. Now, without wasting any time, the grade 1 and 2 lesson is coming up next. It's English language. Lerato will be taking that grade 1 and 2 lesson through with you guys. We will be right back after this.
When you choose your adventures, you do so with an open heart and a desire for the unexpected. You embark on journeys to discover new worlds full of wonder. You choose a path to awaken your senses, a world to make you look up and realize just how inspiring this life can be. Arrive and awaken your heart. Explore life in ways only thought possible in your dreams. Discover just how far you go to expand your understanding of life's greatest mysteries. There's just one place on this planet with so much to offer. Now is the time for you to have the royal experience in the kingdom.
TV license pay and win competition. Fabulous prizes up for grabs. Don't miss out on the TV license pay and win competition. The competition will run from the 30th of September to 10th November 2020. Prizes include set-top boxes, a TV set, DSTV decoders, cash and IT analysis for a winning business. To enter the competition by the Times of Eswatini, cut out the filled in strip and drop it off at any of the Times offices or upload cut out to https://tblcom.jelele.com. The competition is open to individuals 18 years and older and businesses too. Entrants must be in possession of devices which are capable of communication or transmitting or recording TV signals. The more the entries meet, the higher the chances of winning. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome grade 1s and 2s. This is the first subject for today and you are learning English language with teacher Pindile Matebula. My name is Lirato Mabilisa, and also joining me in the studio is the sign language interpreter Nompumelelo Hatebe. A very good afternoon, ma'am. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you, Lerato. How are you doing?
I'm all right. So what is today's topic and what would you expect the viewer to have learned by the end of this lesson?
Well, okay, for today, I'm not going to give away the topic. Mm-hmm. The learner is expected to guess what our day's topic will be. But anyway, either way, I still expect them to describe objects and then draw objects themselves.
Okay, without wasting any time, please begin your lesson.
All right, thank you so much. Good afternoon, dear learner. I hope that you have washed your hands and you are ready for today's lesson. As usual, dear learner, we begin our lessons with a greeting song, and today we are going to learn a new song, and it goes, "Good day, learner, good day, teacher, how are you? Good, thank you, how are you? I'm good too, I'm good too." Let's do it again, dear learner. 1, 2. Good day, learner. Good day, teacher. How are you? Good, thank you. How are you? I'm good too. I'm good too. Thank you so much, dear learner. Welcome again to our 5th English language lesson with the grade 1s and 2s, that is foundation phase. Now, for your lesson today, dear learner, I would like you to have your pencil, an eraser, and an exercise book with you. So that is your pencil, your eraser, and your exercise book. Now, before we begin our lesson, may we go through our daily activity. Previously, we've been doing days of the week, dear learner, and today is a Tuesday. Let us go through these different weather conditions. The first one is sunny. We say it is sunny when the sun is shining brightly in the sky, so we say sunny. And the second one, dear learner, is partly cloudy. We say it is partly cloudy when there is the sun and clouds in the sky. The third one, dear learner, is cloudy, and it's always cloudy. We say it is cloudy when there are clouds in the sky. The fourth one is rainy. We say it is rainy when there are water droplets falling from the sky. The next weather condition is stormy. We say it is stormy when it rains and there is thunder and lightning. The next one is windy. We see that it is windy when the wind blows and we see trees moving side to side. Then we say it is windy. And then the last one is snowy, which we rarely have in our kingdom, in our country, where we have snow falling off down from the sky. Now, dear learner, take a look around where you are. Just peep through the window and check what the weather is like where you are. Well, right now, dear learner, I am in Babani and the weather is partly cloudy. We have some clouds covering the sky and the sun is also there, but just a bit. Now let us look for sunny in our chart. So there is partly cloudy. We said our weather today is partly cloudy. Thank you so much, dear learner. Let us move on and begin our lesson. Take a look at this picture, dear learner. What do you see? Well, remember that I didn't tell you today's topic, and I'm expecting you to guess what today's topic will be. So this picture is going to help you. Well, I can see 2 buses. I hope you also see those. And maybe you are thinking to yourself that our day's lesson is going to be about buses. Maybe it could also be about the colors blue and red. Now, the lesson could also be about so many things that can come to your mind. There are words also, dear learner, that you see on your screen. So there and there. This is a rhyme, dear learner. We are going to say this rhyme together so that it can help you think more about what today's topic will be. It goes like this. Here comes a big blue bus, a big blue bus, a big blue bus. Here comes a big blue bus to take me to school. Here comes a big blue bus, a big blue bus, a big blue bus. Here comes a big blue bus to take me to school. Here comes a small red bus, a small red bus, a small red bus. Here comes a small red bus to take me to town. Now, dear learner, I hope you noted that there were words that I was repeating as we were saying the rhyme. And those words are blue, red, big, small. Now, dear learner, from that, what do you think today's lesson will be about? I'm sure you've been thinking and thinking. Whatever answer you have, dear learner, is correct. But today, our lesson is going to be about big and small. Our lesson today is big and small. So today, dear learner, we are going to be learning about big and small objects. Right now, dear learner, on your screen, I'm sure that you can see 2 apples. Now, we can say more about these apples. We can describe them. The first thing that we see is the color. We can say that these apples are red and they've got those green leaves over there. But our focus today, dear learner, is on the size. We are describing these objects. So here, dear learner, what can we say about this first apple? Good. This apple is big. This apple is big. And then this one, dear learner, is small. It is small. Now, dear learner, imagine that you are playing with your friends outside and you happen to get bitten by a spider, and now you have to go and report to your mother that, Mama, an insect bit me on my leg, and you need to tell your mother more about the insect that bit you. So now you start describing to your mother that it was a small insect. So immediately your mother hears that it was a small insect, and maybe your mom will be a less worried. But if you tell your mother that it was something big and maybe it was black in color, maybe your mom can then start getting worried, maybe start thinking it's a scorpion, then she would have to take you to the hospital. Now, dear learner, by the end of our lesson today, I expect you to identify big and small objects. I also expect you to use the words big and the word small to describe classroom objects. I'm sure, dear learner, that you still remember the objects that you used around your class. Lastly, dear learner, I'll also expect you to draw. I'm sure you miss drawing. You are going to draw today and you will be drawing these objects. You will first draw big ones and then small objects. So that is how our lesson will look like today, dear learner. Now, dear learner, getting into our lesson today, let us look at this first activity, dear learner. There is an instruction over there. I'm sure that you are now excited about these pictures that you see. But first, we should note that there is an instruction and it tells us what to do. Let us read it together, dear learner. It says, cross the small object. Let's read it together again, dear learner. Cross the small object. And here, dear learner, I have put the cross sign, how it looks like. So that is how we cross. Now, dear learner, let us look at the first object, that is our number 1. There, dear learner, we've got 2 objects, and what are those? Very good. These are balls. They look the same, but their size is different. Remember, dear learner, our instruction says we should cross the small one. Let's look at the first one. Is it big or is it small? All right, hold that answer. Now let's look at the second one. Is it big or small? Very good. This one is the small one, and our instruction says that we should cross it. We should cross. Very good. Let's move on, dear learner, to number 2. There, dear Lena, I see pink cups. Now let's look at the objects. Let's look at the first one. Is it big or small? Hold that. Now let's look at the second one. Is it big or small? Right, this one is big while the first one is small, and our instruction says that we should cross. So we are going to cross the small object. Let us look at the third one, dear Lena. That is our number 3. And there, dear Lena, I'm sure that you see 2 trees. Now, dear Lena, let's look at the first tree. Is it big or small? Yes, it is big, dear Lena. Now, our instruction says we should cross the small one. Let's take a look at this one. Is it a small tree? Of course it is. So we are supposed to cross the small object. Now, dear Lena, we have identified big and small objects. Remember, dear Lena, I also said that we are also going to identify and describe describe classroom objects. Now, dear Lena, on your screen, we have classroom objects. What are the names of those classroom objects? Good. These are chairs. These are chairs. I'm sure by now, dear Lena, you are starting to remember your chairs back in your school. Maybe yours was red, but in my picture today, I have a blue chair and I also have a maroon chair. So now we can describe these objects according to their sizes. Now let us look at the first one. The blue chair. Is it big or small? Good. This one is small. This one is small. Now this is probably the learner's chair. This is probably your chair, dear Lena. Now let us look at this chair. And this one looks like my chair, the teacher's chair. So this chair is big. This chair is big. Now, dear Lena, let's move on and look at more classroom objects. What is the name of that classroom object, dear Lena? Good. This is a chalkboard. And this too is a chalkboard. So now we have 2 chalkboards and we need to say more about these chalkboards. Let's look at the first chalkboard. Yes, what more can we say about it? It is green, but when we compare the 2, we can say that the first chalkboard is big and the second one is small. Very good, dear Lena. I hope that you are coming along with me. Now, dear Lena, let us look at the last ones. Yes, dear Lena, I'm aware that we've got lots and lots of classroom objects, but for today we are just going to look at these. What do you see now, dear Lena? Yes, these are books. One is red and the other one is big. What can we say about the red one? The red book is small. The red book is small. Now let us look at the blue one. We're describing the book. The book is big. The book is big. Thank you so much, dear Lena. Now we have talked about classroom objects and we have described them. Now, dear Lena, it's our turn now to draw big and small objects. I am going to start, dear Lena, and draw some objects for you. I am going to start off by reading the instruction with you, dear Lena. The instruction is very important so that we know what is expected for us to do. Now, dear Lena, let us read the instruction together. It says draw big and small objects. Again, draw big and small objects. So now we are expected to draw big and small objects. You can start thinking, dear Lena, we've got our favorites objects that we like. Maybe we can draw hearts. How about we draw hearts today, dear Lena? I am going to start by drawing. Let me allow you to guess. just look at the object and tell me how this heart is. Well, you may think that it is big, but maybe you're not sure how the next one will look like. Let me draw the second one, then you can describe my hearts. There. I'm sure that you can draw nicer pictures than mine, dear Lena. You guys are so good. Now, dear Lena, let's describe my hearts. Let's look at the first one. This one is big. This one is big. And the second one is small. It is small. Now, dear Lena, let us move on to drawing another one. But I know, dear Lena, that you can think of so many objects to draw. You can even draw pictures of cups, your food. It could be anything, dear Lena. So my second object is going to be cups. Let me draw a cup. Now there's my first cup, dear Lena. That is a cup. Now, dear Lena, let me draw the second one. So now we have 2 cups. Can we describe these cups? The first cup is very good. This one is small. Previously, I drew hearts, and the first one was big and the second one was small. But now I've started with a small cup, and the second one is big. It is big. Very good, dear Elena. I hope that you were following, because you are also going to get an opportunity to draw your own pictures. Remember, it's big and small. Now, dear Elena, we are going to say our rhyme together. Remember, we did it earlier when we started the lesson. I'm sure that now you know the rhyme, and now we are going to say our rhyme with some action, showing the big bus and showing the small one. 1, 2, 3, start. Here comes a big blue bus, a big blue bus, a big blue bus. Here comes a big blue bus to take me to school. Here comes a small red bus, a small red bus, a small red bus. Here comes a small red bus to take me to town. Again, dear Elena, with more action. 1, 2, 3, start. Here comes a big blue bus, a big blue bus, a big blue bus. Here comes a big blue bus to take me to school. Here comes a small red bus, a small red bus, a small red bus. Here comes a small red bus to take me to town. Very good. I hope that you enjoyed the rhyme, dear Elena. It was telling us about a big, there is the word, a big bus, and also a small bus. And that is what our lesson today was about, describing objects. We're describing objects. Now, dear Elena, it is your time to do some work. So this is your classwork, and this is what I expect you to do, dear Elena. Let us read the instruction together. Draw big and small objects. Let's read again, dear Elena. Draw big and small objects. So that is what you'll be expected to do, dear Elena. You are going to draw your own. Remember, I drew pictures of hearts and cups. So now you are going to think of your own. Now, dear Elena, let us look back at what we've been doing today. First, dear Elena, we predicted what the lesson was going to be about. That is very important for you to start thinking, and I'm happy that you guys started saying so many answers, and some got it correct, and those who didn't still tried, and I'm happy you were thinking about the lesson. Now, we identified big and small objects. I showed you pictures, and you were able to identify which ball was big and which ball was small. Also, dear Lena, we went on to use the words big and small to describe classroom objects. Well, for today's lesson, we just described a few. We described the chairs, we described the chalkboard, and we also described books. There could be more, dear Lena. Lastly, dear Lena, together we drew big and small objects. That is where I drew hearts and cups. And finally, dear Lena, I gave you some classwork. That is your work, and I expect you to draw big and small objects. That is the end of our lesson, dear Lena. I hope that you will keep safe from the coronavirus. Remember to wash those hands with soap and running water. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Thank you very much, Ms. Matebula. This was a very interesting English language lesson. I'm hoping you're going to come again and give us another interesting lesson as this one.
Yes, certainly. Thank you so much.
Okay, now grade 1s and 2s, do not go anywhere because your religious education will be back after this infomercial. So grab a snack because we will be back after this.
Your favorite music show is back. We're bringing you the hottest music videos and live studio interviews with your favorite celebrities. We're giving you a front row seat to the latest fashion trends as well as your weekend gig guide. Join us live on social media and call in to send in your shout-outs. Catch This Weekend Eswatini every Friday at 5:30 p.m. live on Eswatini TV.
Emaphoyisa neseve lolu hlelo lwakho loluchamuka khona embuthweni wembobe lolufundisa kabanti liphindze lixwayise zona phela seve ngato tindzaba tekuvikela bona kuqala.
Thokotela uhlelo lwakho emaphoyisa nesive kuso sikhathi lesisha njalo ngabo lesine ngensimbi yesihlanu sihambama khona la Eswatini TV.
Divers nome kanjani and forget what bothers you the most. On this stage, our dancers fire in their eyes come alive. They explore the fires that lay deep within with different dance moves. On this stage, they claim their space and who they are with sparkles, freestyle, silent and storm dances. All this and more with our vibrant and beautiful presenter, Nikki. Divers nome kanjani season 4 coming soon on Eswatini TV. Sibuko semaswati.
Buhle bethu imvelo yethu, buhle bethu tindzawo tethu, indalo yashada nemasiko kuhle kwethu, kuvakasha kwethula umthwalo emahlombe ethu, hloma ngwane vuka uvakashe, indlela uyikhombe etindzaweni tethu, temvelo nembukiso ungcebeleke uthathe netitfombe. Lalela ke nangu sonkondlo waseswatini akutekela, ayibeka indzaba ayihlela, kuhle kwelijaha lishela ngiyakutshela, diningi tindzawo longativakashela, hloma ngwane vuka uvakashe la, phana lapha kuvakasha kuyayelapha enhlitiyo kanye nemicondvo kuyawuphumuta, kuqinisa buhlobo nebungane losebendenga ndenga, with a trip to Mantenga Falls or a sip among friends of Sibebe Brew on Sibebe Mountain. Or perhaps your cup of tea is backpacking and horse riding, sightseeing the seamless streams and springs that stream across the gorgeous valleys of the mountainous kingdoms of Eswatini. We have you covered. Hlo mangwane vuka uvakashe. Buhle bethu yimvelo yethu. Buhle bethu ngabuthola nasebantwini bethu.
Welcome grade 1s and 2s. I hope that you've grabbed your snack because your religious education teacher, Teacher Nogwanda Manana, is already in the studio and she's going to be teaching you about Creation Day 5 and 6. My name is Lerato Mabilisa and also joining me in the studio is the sign language interpreter Nompumelelo Hatebe. A very good afternoon, Miss Manana. How are you today?
Good afternoon, Lerato. I'm doing well, thank you. And how are you?
I'm alright. So today's topic is Creation Day 5 and 6.
Yes.
What do you expect the viewer to have learned by the end of this lesson?
By the end of this lesson, I expect the viewer to be able to do the following. Number 1, I expect you to be able to list the things that God created in day 5. Number 2, I expect them to be able to list the things that God created in day 6. And lastly, I expect the learner to be able to mention the first people that were created by God.
Okay, without wasting any time, please may you begin your lesson.
Thank you very much, Lerato. Welcome, dear learner. So, today's lesson today's topic is God created the world. God created the world. Okay. Today's lesson is very important for you, dear learner, because you have to know the things around you and where they come from. Before we begin our lesson, dear learner, there are 2 very important words that we are going to read. And the words are create and creation. Create and creation. This time, dear learner, we are going to read the words together and we are going to read each word twice, okay? Let's begin with the first word. Create. Again, create. Good. Let us go to the second word. Creation. Again, creation. Very good. It is also very important, dear learner, that we look at the meanings of these words. To create is to make something. To create is to make something. And creation are all the things that were made by God. Creation are all the things that were made by God. Dear learner, please allow me to look back to the previous lesson. In our last lesson, dear learner, we learned about creation in day 3 and creation in day 4. We learned that in day 3, God made the land, He made lakes, rivers, and the sea. Okay? On the same day, dear learner, we learned that God also made plants. He made different plants such as trees, as we can see this tree here, flowers, and also grass. We also learned about creation in day 4. We learned that in day 4, God created the sun, the stars, and the moon. And we learned that God created all these things for us to understand the time. Since we remember, dear learner, that the sun tells us that it is daytime and the moon and the stars, they tell us that it is the night. As this time, dear learner, we will sing a creation song. I hope we remember this song, dear learner, because we have been singing it
since the beginning of our creation lessons.
Sky and clouds, that was on the second day, that was on the second day, and God saw it was good, and God saw it was good. God created land and plants, that was on the third day, that was on the third day, and God saw it was good, and God saw it was good. God created sun, moon and stars, that was on the fourth day, that was on the fourth day, and God saw it was good, and God saw it was good. God created birds and fish, that was on the fifth day, that was on the fifth day, and God saw it was good, and God saw it was good. God created creatures on land, people too, that was on the sixth day, that was on the sixth day, and God saw it was good, and God saw it was good. When God rested, then God rested from his work, that was on the seventh day, that was on the seventh day, a holiday to worship God, a holiday to worship God. Let's sing praises to our God, to our God. He created all things, he created all things. God is good all the time, all the time. God is good.
That was so wonderful, dear Lena. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the song as much as I did. Now, dear Lena, from this song, we learn a lot of things. First of all, we learned that there are 7 days in a week. From that, we have learned that God took 6 days for creation. Yes, in our first lesson, we looked at creation on day 1 and day 2, and then on our previous lesson, we were on day 3 and day 4 of creation. So today's lesson is going to be about day 5 and day 6 of creation. On the 7th day of the week, God didn't create anything. It was his time for resting. Today, dear Lena, we are going to learn about day 5 and day 6 of creation. And I'm going to tell you a story of creation on day 5 and day 6 only. I hope you are ready to listen to the story. Okay? On the 5th day of creation, God made animals that live in water. On the 5th day of creation, God made animals that live in water. On the same day, he made animals that fly in the air. Please allow me to repeat this for you. On the 5th day of creation, God made animals that live in water. He also made the animals that fly in the air. Dear Lena, your loving and caring teacher brought you some pictures that shows you the things that God created in day 5 and day 6. I hope you really want to see those pictures. And here are the pictures. Okay? On the 5th day of creation, I said that God made animals that live in water. And here I have a picture that shows an example of animals that live in water. What is the name of this animal? Very good. This animal is a fish. This animal is a fish. We also learned that
God also made the animals that fly in the air. These are the animals that fly in the air. What are the names of these animals? What are the names of these animals? Very good. These are birds. Different types of birds. This is what God created on the 5th day of creation, dear Lena. He created animals that live in water, such as the fish, and he also created animals that fly in the air, like the birds. Okay, now let's look at what God created on the 6th day of creation. On the 6th day of creation, God created land animals. By land animals, dear Lena, we mean animals that live in the land. On the same day, God spoke a word and he said, "Let us make people in our image." Then he made people, and God saw that it was good. He made a man and a woman. The first people that God created were Adam and Eve. Then the man's name was Adam and the woman's name was Eve. The main reason why God created people is that people have to take care of everything that he created. God created people to take care of everything that he created. Once again, dear Lena, your loving and caring teacher has brought you some pictures that shows the things that God created on that 6th day of creation. And these are the pictures. Yes, I said that on the 6th day of creation, God created land animals. And here I have pictures which shows examples of land animals. Land animals, dear Lena, are animals that lives on the land. The first picture shows a cow, and the second picture shows some sheep. I have more examples of land animals, such as the zebras, as we can see them in this picture, and we also have some giraffes. Yes. On the very same day, dear Lena, we have learned that God created people, a man and a woman. And this picture, dear Lena, shows the first people that God created, which are Adam and Eve. And I said that the man's name was Adam and the woman's name was Eve. So this is Adam and this is Eve. At this time, dear Lena, we are going to sing a creation song for one last time. And at this time, we are going to sing from day 5 and day 6, just to remind ourselves about what we were learning about today. God created birds and fish, that was on the 6th day, that was on the 5th day, and God saw it was good, and God saw it was good. God created creatures on land, people too. That was on the 6th day, that was on the 6th day, and God saw it was good, and God saw it was good. Then God rested from his work, That was on the 7th day, that was on the 7th day, a holiday to worship God, a holiday to worship God. Let's sing praises to our God, to our God. He created all things, He created all things. God is good all the time, all the time. God is That was so lovely. Okay, once again, this song is reminding us that on the 5th day of creation, God created water animals and animals that fly in the air. Lastly, on the 6th day, God created land animals and he also created people. So dear Lena, since I have been talking from the beginning of the lesson, now it's time for you to do something for me. And I have questions for you. Okay? I am going to read you the questions. After that, you are going to answer those questions. Okay. The first question is, pick the things that God created in day 5 and in day 6. Put them in the correct box. Number 2 says, name the first people that were created by God. Okay. Let us look at the first question together. It says, pick the correct word for the correct box. I have a list of the things that were created in day 5 and things that were created in day 6. I also have 2 boxes, one which is for day 5 and the other one is for day 6. So, I'm going to read the words that are in this list for you. The words are people, birds, cows, and fish. So dear Lena, at this time, I want you to pick the things that were created in day 5 and put them under the box written day 5. And you are going to pick the things that were created in day 6 and you are going to put them under the box written day 6. Dear Lena, please allow me to help you answer this question. Okay, the first word in our list is people. When did God create people? When did God create people? In day 5 or in day 6? Yes, God created people in day 6. So we are going to write people this side. People. Okay? The second word is birds. When did God create birds? In day 5 or in day 6? Very good. God created birds in day 5. So we are going to put birds this side. Okay? The third word is cows. When did God create cows? Cows are land animals. So land animals were created in day 6. It means that we are going to put cows this side. Very good. Okay, and the last word is fish. When did God create fish? A fish is an animal that lives in water. Water animals, dear Lena, were created in day 5. So we are going to put fish this side in day 5. Very good. Let us move on to the next question. The next question says, name the first 2 people that were created by God. Name the first 2 people that were created by God. The first 2 people that were created by God were Adam and Eve. Yes, they were Adam. The man's name was Adam and the woman's name was Eve. Very good. Dear Lena, in today's lesson, we learned about creation in day 5 and creation in day 6. In day 5, God created animals that live in water and animals that fly in the air. Lastly, in day 6, God made land animals and people. Please allow me to repeat this for you. In day 5, God created animals that live in water and he also created animals that fly in the air. Lastly, in day 6, the last day of creation, God created land animals and people. Thank you very much, dear Lena, for your time. This is the end of our lesson. I hope you enjoyed. Lerato, do you have something to say?
Thank you very much for being with us today, Teacher Nogwanda. I'm hoping you're going to come again next time and give us another interesting lesson with the song as well.
Okay, Lerato, I hope I will come back again. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, grade 1s and 2s, for watching. Up next is the grade 3 and 4 mathematics lesson. So if you are in grade 3 and grade 4, please get closer to your screen because your mathematics teacher, Teacher Sicelo Ndlela, will be back after this infomercial.
When you choose your adventures, you do so with an open heart and a desire for the unexpected. You embark on journeys to discover new worlds full of wonder. You choose a path to awaken your senses, to feel the rush of life overwhelm you, a world to make you look up and realize just how inspiring this life can be. You ask, and we give you the royal experience. Arrive and awaken your heart. Explore life in ways only thought possible in your dreams. There are but a few places on earth so special, so unique, and so spectacular, where it becomes the rite of passage for the ambitious travelers, the courageous souls, to all have the one and only royal experience. That day when you look deep into your heart and leap into an ancient world so very different from your own, where magic, beauty, and love are shared forever, then you will have a whole experience. There is just one place on earth where the people make you feel a part of their kingdom, where you just might volunteer to awaken spirits, enrich minds, and work alongside communities to build, motivate, and inspire. This is truly the royal experience. When you dream of a different world, beyond the ordinary, beyond time,
Welcome grade 3s and 4s. This is the third lesson for today and you are learning mathematics with teacher Sicelo Ndlela, and the topic for today is adding and subtracting fractions. My name is Lerato Mabilisa, and also joining me in the studio is the sign language interpreter Nomcebo Dlamini. A very good afternoon, Mr. Ndlela. How are you today?
Afternoon, Lerato. I'm cool, very, very cool.
You're
yes,
cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So today's topic is adding and subtracting fractions.
Yes.
What would you expect the viewer to have learned by the end of this lesson?
By the end of the lesson, my learners should be able to add fractions with the same denominator, and the sum of the fractions must not be more than a whole number, and also they should be able to subtract fractions with the same denominator.
Okay, without wasting any time, please begin your lesson.
Thank you. Dear learner at home, as we have discussed with Lerato, our today's topic is adding fractions. Okay, and also we shall be subtracting fraction with the same denominator. All right. So learner at home, please have the following material with you. Please have a pencil for drawing, a rubber in case you make a mistake, a pen, a ruler, and preferably a mathematics exercise book, and then Our topic today is on pages 57 up to 56. Right. Our today's lesson, as we have said, we should be able to add a fraction with the same denominator whose sum does not exceed 1 whole. And you should be able to subtract fractions with the same denominator. Let's move on. Why should we learn fractions? We learn fractions because it prepares you, learner, at home for real life situations where you will use the fractions. For example, in agriculture, you are supposed to make a garden, and you what do? You make some equal parts or equal plots in your garden. For example, maybe you want to grow different vegetables like carrots, maybe lettuce, cabbage. Okay, and also it is very, very important to learn fractions because, for example, in a household, for example, in your homes there, you are supposed to measure maybe a half a cup of sugar with together maybe a quarter of flour. Maybe you are baking there. So it is very, very important to learn fractions, dear learner at home. Right, I assume, learner at home, you are able to read and write fraction. For example, our fraction here is 1/2. So we can read this together, learner at home, 1/1/2. And you should be able, I assume you already know how to write fraction. Let us write the following fraction. Or can you write the following fraction, learner at home? 3/4. 3/4. This is 3/4. Dear learner at home, I also assume you are able to add numbers. 4 plus 5 is equal to 9. Also, dear learner, from the previous grade 3, you have learned how to write a fraction. A fraction has got a numerator and a denominator. So how can you see if a fraction? How can you see a fraction has got a numerator and a denominator? For example, in this fraction that we have written here, 1/2. 1 is a numerator, and 2, our 2 is the denominator. Okay, how do you know this? How can you write a denominator and how can you write a numerator? When do we say a number is a numerator and when do we say a number is a denominator? A numerator, a number above the bar. So this is our bar. This is our bar. Learner at home. 1/2. Here is a bar separating the two numbers. Here it is separating the two numbers. We've got 1 and 2. So this is our fraction, and 1 is our numerator and 2 is our denominator. So what have we said? When a number above the bar, which is in this case it is 1, it is above the bar, it is representing part of a whole. And then we have 2, which is below this bar, and it is called a denominator. So a denominator is a number below a bar. This is our bar. This is our bar here. A bar representing a total equal parts. So how many parts do we have here? There are 2 equal parts. Okay, let's move on, dear learner at home. Name the fraction of the shaded parts in each diagram below. Name the fraction of the shaded parts or parts in each diagram below. In the first one, 1 is shaded with green. You can see this one. It is shaded with green. Out of how many equal parts? Out of 2 equal parts. So the fraction for the shaded part in the first diagram is 1/2. It is 1/2. And then in the next one, because we are looking for the number of the shaded parts in each fraction. How many parts are shaded here? 1, 2, 3. Out of how many parts? We've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there are 4 parts altogether here. How many parts are shaded? 3 over 4. So this is our 3 over 4. Okay, next, adding fraction, because today we shall be adding fractions with the same denominator. Okay, let us look at this diagram here. What fraction is the shaded part in the diagram? What fraction is the shaded part in the diagram? How many parts are shaded? How many parts are shaded? Let us count. 1, 2, sorry Lena. How many equal parts do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there are 7 equal parts. And then how many parts are shaded with blue? There are 2. So there are 2 equal parts that are shaded with blue. How many parts are shaded with red? There are 3 parts that are shaded with red. Now, because we are supposed to count or calculate the number of shaded parts in this diagram, the number of shaded parts in this diagram are there. We've got 3 plus 2, and what do we get? We get 5. So we've got 3 parts of shaded parts out of 7 plus 2 parts that are shaded out of 7. So what do we say? We've got how many parts are shaded? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is 5 out of how many equal parts? Out of 7 equal parts. Now, dear Lena, how can we can also write the number sentence above by writing like this. There are 3 shaded parts out of how many? Out of 7 equal parts, plus, because we are looking for the total shaded parts. 2 parts that are shaded out of 7 equal parts. 2 shaded parts out of 7 equal parts. So together, so the total number of equal parts, it is 3 plus 3 shaded parts plus 2 shaded parts. What do we get? We get 5 shaded parts. Out of how many? Out of 7 equal parts. And remember, when we counted there, we found that what did you say? We have got 7 equal parts. So the number here didn't change because we had 7 equal parts. Let's move on to Elena at home. What is the total fraction? What is the total fraction that is shaded below? What is the total fraction that is shaded below? Okay, how many parts that are shaded? 3 parts are shaded with a what? With a brown color, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 parts are shaded with what? With yellow. So the question said, what is the total fraction that is shaded? What is the total fraction of the shaded parts below? Okay, so it is 3 out of 4. We can say our brown color here is 3. 1, 2, 3 parts that are shaded out of how many equal parts? Out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Out of 10 equal parts. And we have yellow, the part that are shaded with yellow are 4. So it is 4 out of 10, because remember the number below in each fraction represents the total equal parts. So together we have how many parts that are shaded? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there are 7 parts that are shaded out of how many? Out of 7 equal parts. Now, dear learner, you can see that the total number of equal parts here is 10. There is 10 here. There is also 10 there. So the number of the total equal parts, what does it do? It doesn't change. It doesn't change. Now, dear learner at home, here we've got 2 over 5 plus 1 over 5. What do we say? We say that because we are adding the denominators, remember we say the denominators are the number on top of the power in each fraction. So we'll be saying 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. And remember that the denominator here is 5. So our 5 does not change. Why? It is because it represents the number of total equal parts. So our answer here will be 2 plus 1 is equal to 3 over 5. Now, dear learner, let's move to B. B, 3 over 8 plus 1 over 8 plus 2 over 8. We've seen from the first one here that when you are adding fractions with the same denominator, what do? We simply add the numerators. So our numerators in this case, we've got 3, 1, and 2. So we add these, the numerators, to get our total, which is 6 out of how many? Out of 8. So the answer here is 6 over 8. In short, what do we mean? We mean that whenever we're adding fractions, to add fractions with the same denominator, what must we do? We simply add the numerators as we have done. We've added 2 plus 1 here. Here we've added 3 plus 1 plus 2. We add the numerators and we keep our denominator. Our denominator does not change. So in this case, in each case here, our denominator is 8. You can see the 8 is, there is 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our 8, which is our denominator here, does not change. Dear learner, as we have said earlier, that we shall also be subtracting fractions with the same denominator. Here is our diagram here. There are how many equal parts? We have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 equal parts. There are six equal parts in this in this diagram here. What does this mean? It means that is going to be our denominator for this diagram here. And then how many parts are shaded? We can see that in this diagram our shaded parts are shaded with the green color. How many parts are shaded? There are 4 shaded parts. There are 4 shaded parts, Elena, at home. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 shaded parts that there are 4 parts that are shaded with green. And then from the 4 parts that are shaded, what else do we see here? One of our shaded parts from the 4 parts that are shaded is marked with a star. Why did we mark this one with a star? Why? It means that we are removing it from the total equal parts. We are removing it from the total equal parts. So one part of the shaded part is marked with a star. What does it mean? It is being removed. So we can remove this one. We can remove it. So what does it mean? It means that 4 out of 6, there are 4 parts that are shaded with the green color. 4 parts that are shaded with the green color. Minus the one that with the star, we are removing it. It is 1 over 6. So if the one with the star, the part that with the star is removed, how many parts are left? We are left with 1, 2, 3. So there are 3 parts that are left out of how many parts? Out of 6 parts. Okay. Now, dear learner at home, let's do this example together. 5 over 8. 5 over 8 minus 3 over 8. 5 over 8 minus 3 over 8. Remember, dear learner, we said we subtract the numerators. Our numerators in this case, there is 5 and 3. So it is 5 minus 3. And our answer is 2 out of how many equal parts? Out of 8 equal parts. So in this case, we've got 8 equal parts. So our answer here will be 2 over 8. 4 4 minus 1. 4 over 5. It is 4 over 5 minus 1 over 5. 4 over 5 minus 1 over 5. We have said we do the same even in this one. We subtract the numerators. Our numerators, we have 4 and 1. So 4 minus 1 is equal to 3. 4 minus 1 is equal to 4 minus 1 is equal to 3. And then because our denominator is 5, so our 5 we keep it with we are not supposed to change it because it is what? It is our denominator. It represents the total equal parts. So all in all, what do we mean? When subtracting fractions with the same denominator, we simply subtract the numerators as we have done here. Our numerators here, we've got 5 and 3. 5 and 3. We simply subtract the numerators and keep the denominator. In each case here, our denominator in the first one is 8. And in B, our denominator is what? It is 5. So we keep our denominator. Hence, our answer is equal to 3 over 5. Dear learner, let us work out the following. A 1 over 4 plus 2 over 4. 1 over 4 plus 2 over 4. Okay, dear learner at home, what number do you think we can put in the box there? Dear learner at home, what number do you think we can put in the box? 1 plus 3 is equal, 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. And our denominator here is 4. What number do you think we can put in the box? Okay, we've already seen, learner, that when these fractions have got the same denominator, our denominator is 4. So what do we simply do? We just simply write our 4. So the fraction here is 3 over 4. Our answer will be 3 over 4. Okay, dear learner. Sorry. Our fraction is equal to 3 over 4. Now, 3 over 4 plus 3 over 8. We do the same principle. 4 plus 3 is equal to what? 4 plus 3 is equal to 7, and our denominator is 8. Okay. Then 5 minus 5 over 9 minus 2 over 9. Our numerators are 5, so it will be 5 minus 2 over our denominator in this case is 9. So 5 minus 2 is equal to 3 over 9. Dear learner, please, dear learner, can you do the following work on pages 57 and 58 of your purpose book? You do exercises 1, 2, and 3, and then again on pages 59 to 60 you do exercises 1, 2, and 3. All right, for example, you'd be saying 4 over 7 minus 1 over 7 is equal to 5 over 7. 4 plus 1 is equal to 5 over 7. 6 minus 2, 6 over 8 minus 2 over 8. Our answer is 4 over 8. What have we learned, learner, today? We have learned to add fractions with the same denominator. When adding fraction with the same denominator, what do? We simply add the numerators and we write our denominator in this case. Also, we have learned that to separate fractions with the same denominator, we simply subtract the numerators and write the common denominator. And I hope, dear learners at home, you are going to do your best, and please do ask your parents, like your mom, your father, your elder sister, to help you with the work that you've been given. Let me hope you are going to do your best. Until next time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ndlela. Interesting and informative maths lesson. I'm hoping you're coming again next time and you're going to present to us, you're going to teach the learners, another interesting lesson as this one.
Yes, Lerato, and I hope so.
Okay. Now, if you are in Form 1 and Form 2, please get closer to your screen, as well as Form 4s, because Nogwazi will be back to present to you the mathematics, religious education, and biology lessons. We will be back after this infomercial.
Buhle bethu imvelo yethu. Buhle bethu tindzawo tethu. Indalo yashada nemasiko kuhle kwethu. Kuvakasha kwethula umthwalo emahlombe ethu. Hloma ngwane vuka uvakashe indlela uyikhombe etindzaweni tethu. Temvelo nembukiso ungcebeleke uthathe netithombe. Lalela ke nangu somkhondlo waseswatini akutekela ayibeka indzaba ayihlela kuhle kwelijaha lishela ngiyakutshela diningi tindzawo longativakashela hloma ngwane vuka uvakashela phana lapha kuvakasha kuyayelapha enhlitiyo kanye nemqondo kuyawuphumuda uqinisa buhlobo nebungane losebundenga ndenga with a trip to Mantenga Falls or a sip among friends of Sibebe Brew on Sibebe Mountain, or perhaps your cup of tea is backpacking and horse riding, sightseeing the seamless streams and springs that stream across the gorgeous valleys of the mountainous kingdoms of Eswatini. We have you covered. Hloma ngwane vuka uvakashe buhle bethu imvelo yethu buhle bethu ngabuthola nasebantwini bethu.
A very warm welcome back to Eswatini TV. You are still tuned in to Home Study. A very good afternoon if you have just joined us. My name is Nogwazi Dlamini. Right now we are doing Form 1 and Form 2 Mathematics with Jengsile Makakula, who is already with me in the studio. Also joining me in the studio is our sign language interpreter, Nomcebo Dlamini. How are you today?
I'm good, Nogwazi. And how are you?
I'm doing very, very well. Thank you very much. How's the heat?
But the rain is coming up, so
very, very good. Very much better. I understand today we're doing line and reflective symmetry from
line and rotational.
Oh, sorry, line and rotational symmetry. What are you expecting your Form 1s and your Form 2s to have learned by the end of the lesson?
Okay, I expect them to identify symmetrical shapes. Rotational symmetry, they must know what it is. Line and rotational symmetry, distinguish between the two.
All right, okay, Form 1s and Form 2s, I hope you guys are ready for your lesson. And of course, a reminder about our YouTube and our Facebook pages that we are live right now. You guys can also join us on those platforms. Jengsile, you may please begin with your lesson.
Thank you so much, Nogwazi. Let us just go through our objectives for the day. So, like I said, we are expected to identify symmetrical shapes. And we should be able to draw the line of symmetry if you are given a shape. If that shape has a line of symmetry, that is, and complete figures so that the line drawn is the line of symmetry. And you are also expected to find the order of rotational symmetry of a figure and find the center of rotation of a figure. By the way, you would be asking yourself, what is this symmetry for? Symmetry can be used in art and design. Say when you are designing clothes using the fabric, when you want to cut it halfway through, you just fold it into half and then you just cut through. That is symmetry. The folding halfway through, you cut at the line of symmetry. You can also use it in design. When you are designing wallpapers, you know halfway through where it is, then you can use symmetry. Let us just take a closer look at the diagram below. What do you see? And what can you say when you compare the left-hand side to the right-hand side? Of course, we are saying left and right-hand side based on the broken line that is in the middle of the shape. What could happen if you would fold the figure along this dotted line? Imagine that you just fold it halfway along the broken line or the dotted line. What you would notice there is the dotted line divides this figure into two equal parts or two equal shapes, and they are the same. And by folding this figure along the dotted line, you will note that this side, the left hand side, will just fall onto the right hand side, like they are equal, so they'll just cover each other. Here is another figure here, a heart. I just made it red because like people say hearts are red. I don't know whether they are really red or what. When you fold this heart along the dotted line, you will see that one half, let's say the left hand side, fits exactly on the other half. Like you can just fold it along the broken line or the dotted line. This half will fit exactly onto the other half. So we say this figure is symmetrical because we can fold it and then it fits like exactly onto the other half when you fold along the dotted line here. Let us check, how do you see if a figure is symmetrical or not? You can place a mirror, if you have one, along the broken line where you can think maybe this is the center or the middle of this particular object. And by placing a mirror, say for instance the mirror is facing this direction, you will definitely see a complete figure like this one on your mirror, which is to say that the broken line or the line here can stand as our mirror line or our line of symmetry. Hence it cuts the figure into two. When you place the mirror here, the mirror will just make this figure look like it is complete. You can check this by drawing this figure or any other figure that has a line of symmetry or that is symmetrical on a piece of tracing paper. Then you fold along the dotted line. What you will notice is that the other part will just fall exactly onto the other half. Hence you will just see as if it's just one half of this when you fold along this line. We call this line that cuts the figure into two equal parts the line of symmetry. So our dotted line here is our line of symmetry because it cuts this figure into two equal parts. More on the line of symmetry. Now let us draw the line of symmetry or find the line of symmetry of the figures below. Remember, there can be more than one line of symmetry. There can be one line of symmetry, or there can be none. For the first figure here, we can have our line of symmetry such that it cuts halfway through the figure up to the bottom, such that it cuts. There is one arrow this side and one arrow on the other side. That means the line of symmetry will just cut it into half. But for this shape now, you have to bisect the angle or cut the angle into half for you to be able to place the line of symmetry, such that the angle there is cut into half as shown here. So for the first one, our line of symmetry cuts halfway through. It runs vertical, and then here we bisect or we cut the angle into half to find our line of symmetry. Both our shapes here have one line of symmetry each. And then now let us copy and complete this figure here such that the broken line or the dotted line becomes our line of symmetry. So you will draw this figure here and make sure that it has a line of symmetry along the broken line, which is to say, if you are using a tracing paper, you will imagine that if you fold the tracing paper along the broken line here, this piece here that we have, this triangle, will fall also onto the other side to form something like this. So the corner here, we can see it on the other side, and now we can see that the diagonal, which is our line of symmetry, the broken line, cuts this figure halfway through such that it becomes our line of symmetry. Now this figure is symmetrical. You noted that the solution is symmetrical with the dotted line as the mirror line. So our dotted line becomes the mirror line. And then look at this figure below. When you see this broken line here, we want to reflect this figure and we want to make it symmetrical about the dotted line. So we have to reflect both sides. Unlike in the previous diagram where you just put one mirror and if you were using a mirror, you'll just see this corner on the other side. But here now, if you will put a mirror, you might see this side only or this side only. So you would just imagine that you have a two-way mirror, a mirror which can show both sides, that this side reflects onto the other side and the other one reflects onto the other side. And then by reflecting, you will see that the first one, which was this triangle here, and then the second one here, they reflect to form this figure. This one reflects and its image is this side, and this one is the image to this one. So we see now that this line here becomes the line of symmetry. Now let us look at what we call rotational symmetry. On a piece of tracing paper, you can draw this rectangle here. Just draw a rectangle. Make sure it's a rectangle, which is to say you use a ruler to show that it's a rectangle. These sides are equal and these two are equal as well. So that when you fold it, it won't disappoint you. If it's not a rectangle, then you will have a problem. The question that I want to ask you is, how many lines of symmetry does this rectangle have? The second one is find the center of rotation. If we say we want to rotate this rectangle and we will label it O, and then we will rotate the rectangle about our center O. And then the next question, the one that we are about, it says in one complete turn or revolution, how many times does this figure fit in onto the original shape? So now you should have noticed that if you fold the rectangle halfway through like this, exactly it will fold, this part will fall onto this one on the tracing paper, which is to say you will have a line of symmetry that is vertical here, cutting exactly at the center of this long side of the rectangle. And the second line of symmetry will cut halfway through the shorter sides of this rectangle. Hence, we will say that this rectangle here has two lines of symmetry. You can try folding it diagonally. If you fold it diagonally, this angle here will not fall onto that one, which means it will not fall exactly onto the other one. That means the diagonal will not cut the rectangle into halves. Hence, the rectangle has only two lines of symmetry. And for us to be able to find the center of our rotation, here we are going to take our rectangle and then we draw two diagonals of this rectangle. Where the diagonals meet, that's where our center is. We said we are going to label it O. So that's where our center is. And then we said we are going to rotate the rectangle about the center O. So now you are going to place something about this center such that the center doesn't move. And you rotate the rectangle such that it fits onto its original shape. Let us just label the corners so that you will be able to see. Say this is A, B, C, and D. So you will rotate this figure. Trying to fit A onto B won't work. And then you will rotate it until A fits exactly onto C and B onto D. That is 1. And then A will return to its original position. That is 2. So when you rotate this rectangle, it will fit onto its original shape. How many times? We said it's 2 times. And thus we will say that this rectangle here fits on itself exactly 2 times. Let us look at what we have been saying. We said we should have noted that this rectangle has 2 lines of symmetry, and when rotated it fits exactly 2 times onto its original shape. We call our center O the center of rotational symmetry. So the O has a name. The center is the center of rotational symmetry. And the number of times this figure fits into itself in one complete revolution when rotated is called the order of rotational symmetry. So we said our own rectangle fitted 2 times. So it has a rotational order of symmetry that is 2. Okay, how can we find this? We take the smallest angle through which it fits exactly or cover itself completely. In this case, it was 180 degrees. Going back, we would note that we say this point A here fits exactly at the point C. So that is exactly 180 degrees. So you take this angle, you say 360 divided by the angle, and we got 2, which is to say that this rectangle fits 2 times onto itself in 1 revolution. Hence, the order of rotational symmetry for the rectangle is 2. So a rectangle has an order of rotational symmetry that is 2. We say that a figure has rotational symmetry if it fits exactly onto itself when rotated through an angle that is less than 360. Please note, it has rotational symmetry if it fits onto itself through an angle that is less than 360, which is to say if it fits on itself after 360 or at 360 after 1 complete revolution, then it doesn't have rotational symmetry. The order of rotational symmetry of a figure is equal to the of times the smallest angle of rotation fits into 1 complete revolution or a complete turn. That is 360 over that particular angle. The angle here is represented by the letter X, which is the smallest angle. In our example, X was 180 degrees. Hence, we say 360 over 180, which gave us 2. Now, please note that not all figures have rotational symmetry. Some figures, they do not have rotational symmetry, since we said the angle should be less than 360. And then if the order of rotational symmetry of a figure is 1, which is to say that the figure only fits on itself after a complete turn, then we say it has no rotational symmetry. Think of a scalene triangle. Say all sides are not equal. When you try to rotate it about a center, it will only fit on its side after, let's say this side here, this vertex here, it will only fit on its original position after a complete turn. Hence, we say it has no rotational symmetry. But we do not say it has order 0. We say the order is 1 because it took 1 turn to fit on its original position. So the order is always at least 1. So the least we can have is 1. That means the smallest order of rotational symmetry that we can have is 1. It cannot be 0. So when we say the figure has no rotational symmetry, we mean it has order 1. Then now let us look at line and rotational symmetry, like in comparison, or we look at these two together now. Let us look at the letter N here as shown in the diagram. The letter N, when you try to find a line of symmetry, you just cannot find it, because when you try to cut it by the center O, it is not halfway through, because this here cannot fall onto this one and this one doesn't match this one, so it cannot fall onto it. And trying to cut it this way won't give you a line of symmetry as well. But then this letter N here, when you try to rotate it about our center O, what will happen is when you move it or rotate it through an angle of 180, this here through an angle of 180 will fall exactly here, and this one through an angle of 180 will fall exactly here. So that means it's 1, and then you take it back to the original position of this side. That means it has a rotational order of symmetry, or the order of rotational symmetry, which is 2 about the center O. So we say it is symmetrical about a point. That means it is symmetrical about our center O. That is a point. But it is not symmetrical about a line, because it has no line of symmetry. We say a figure has symmetry if it has a line of symmetry or rotational symmetry or both. What we are saying here is if the figure has a line of symmetry, then it has symmetry. If it has rotational symmetry, then it has symmetry. Or if it has both a line of symmetry and the order of rotational symmetry is more than one, then we say it has symmetry. Let us check using examples now. What symmetries does each of the following figures have? Let us start with a square. When you look at a square, when we are asking what symmetries, we are asking if it has 1, a line of symmetry, 2, the order of rotational symmetry, what is it? And then is it symmetrical about a point or about a line? Then we will look at a parallelogram and an isosceles triangle. Looking at the square, a square has 4 lines of symmetry. There is this one cutting it halfway across the sides and this one across the sides, and then there are 2 diagonals. These are 4 lines of symmetry. And also, when you try rotating a square about the center, say the center is here now at the middle where all the lines of symmetries intersect. When you rotate the square about the center, it will fit on its shape 4 times. Hence, we say it has a rotational symmetry of order 4. So, a square is symmetrical about the line, and it is also symmetrical about a point because it has 4 lines of symmetry and an order of rotational symmetry that is 4. And then when we look at the next shape, it's a parallelogram. A parallelogram, what we know is that the 2 opposite sides are parallel and equal. But when you try and cut it halfway through, it won't fit because the angle here is not equal to the angle on the other side, so it will not fit. Even when you try and cut it this way, the angle here is not the same as this one, so it will not fit. Even when you try to cut it diagonally, the sides will not fit because this side here is not equal to the side there, so it has no line of symmetry. But it has a rotational order of symmetry that is 2. Because when I have a center of rotational symmetry, which we will find by joining the diagonals to this parallelogram, and then here is our center, rotating it about the center, this point here, the angle thereof is the same as the angle on the opposite corner there. So when you rotate it, it will fit exactly here, since this angle will fit onto that one. That is 1. And then this angle will have to go back to its original position. That means it has an order of 2. You can try this by using a tracing paper. You trace the figure onto the tracing paper, hold the tracing paper about the center and try rotating it. Like leave the original figure on a piece of paper and then you rotate your tracing paper on the piece of paper to see if this corner here fits exactly here on the original figure. And then now looking at this is an isosceles triangle. An isosceles triangle, we say these 2 sides here are equal, which is to say that these 2 sides are equal. That makes this to have a line of symmetry which cuts halfway through and leave these 2 sides. And we know that these 2 angles in an isosceles triangle are equal. So it has only 1 line of symmetry that leaves the 2 equal sides on the side, because if you cut this way, then it won't be a line of symmetry. But when you try rotating this one here, this angle will not fit anywhere else until it comes back to its original position, which is to say it has an order of rotational symmetry which is 1. Hence, it has no rotational symmetry, because we said if the order of rotational symmetry is 1, it has no rotational symmetry. So it is symmetrical by a line but not through a point. And then now, let us complete this table here. This table here shows us a number of different shapes. We have an isosceles triangle, which we have covered. We have an equilateral triangle, a rectangle, a square, a rhombus, a parallelogram, and a kite. you can now see, we said an isosceles triangle has one line of symmetry. We will just take the column with the line of symmetry and finish it first. And then looking at an equilateral triangle. An equilateral triangle has 3 sides that are equal and all the 3 angles are equal. So it has 3 lines of symmetries that cut through each vertex like this. Say this was an equilateral triangle, all sides are equal. So from each vertex to each line, there is a line of symmetry, there is another one, there is another one. So it has 3 lines of symmetry. And then we take a rectangle. We've covered a rectangle and we found that it has 2 lines of symmetry. And a square, we just covered it in our previous slide, it had 4 lines of symmetry. And then we have a rhombus. Remember, a rhombus has all 4 sides that are equal. So in a rhombus, all 4 sides are equal. But it is not like a square because it's only the 2 opposite angles that are equal. Like this angle is equal to this one here and this one is equal to this one. Yet the 4 sides are equal. So when I try having a line of symmetry that will cut here from the 2 sides here, it won't be a line of symmetry because this angle here is not equal to this angle. So a rhombus has 2 lines of symmetry. Those are the diagonals. Since we said it's only the 2 opposite angles that are equal. So when I cut diagonally, then that's a line of symmetry. And then I cut diagonally, that's another line of symmetry. So it has 2 lines of symmetry. And the parallelogram, we said it has no line of symmetry. When you think of a kite now, a kite has 2 sides that are equal and another set of 2 sides that are equal. Oh, you will pardon me, mine has a tail now, but it's not the one that we fly. So our kite has this side equal to this side and this side is equal to this side here. So a kite, you cannot cut it like this because it's only this side that is equal to this side. So that will not be a line of symmetry. So we cut it like down here. Then this side will match onto this one when you fold it. And then this angle is equal to this one. So it will fit exactly. And then this side here is equal to this side. So it will fit. So it has a line of symmetry. And there is only one line of symmetry. So we said our line of symmetry for a kite is 1. Now the question that we have to ask ourselves is, does an isosceles triangle have rotational symmetry? Remember, for a figure to have rotational symmetry, we said it must fit onto its original shape more than once after a complete revolution, which is to say in an angle that is less than 360, because at an angle that is 360 it will only fit once. So we say it should fit more than once. That means the angle should be less than 360. So when you think of an isosceles triangle, we've already covered that one. We said it has no symmetry because it only fits on its original shape only once. That means at an angle that is equal to 360 degrees. So we said it has no rotational symmetry. But looking at an equilateral triangle, since an equilateral triangle has 3 equal sides and 3 equal angles, so when you rotate it about a center, this side here will, this vertex here will fit here. That is 1, 2 and 3. Hence it will have an order of rotational symmetry which is 3, and of course it has rotational symmetry. A rectangle, we have already covered it. We said it has rotational symmetry because it fits exactly 2 times onto its original shape when rotated about a center. And then now we looked at a square. We said a square has rotational symmetry because it fits onto its original shape 4 times when rotated. And then our rhombus, we said yes, it has rotational symmetry of order 2. And a parallelogram, we said yes, it has rotational symmetry and the order is 2. And for our kite, we said it has no order, it has no rotational symmetry and it has rotational symmetry of order 1. In conclusion, we could say that we have learned how to identify symmetrical shapes. We said shapes can be symmetrical about a point or a line, which we call the line of symmetry. The point we call the center. And we learned how to draw the line of symmetry of a given shape if it has 1. And we were also able to complete figures so that the line drawn, which was a dotted line on our case, is a line of symmetry of the complete figure. And we were able to find the order of rotational symmetry of a given figure. Like a square, we said it has an order of 4. And then we were able to find the center of rotation of a figure, and we say this is the center of rotational symmetry. And we used our example, which was a rectangle, in finding our center of rotational symmetry. Thank you very much. That marks the end of our lesson.
Thank you very much, Tengsile, for your lesson. Well, it was very, very informative. We're hoping your Form 1s and your Form 2s actually enjoyed it. And of course, we'll be seeing you again for more mathematics.
Oh yes, we surely will see each other.
Thank you so much.
In the not distant future.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day. Form 4s, please get closer to your screens because up next is your religious education lesson with Mr. Samgeliso Numalo. We will be right back after this.
The change in technology, out-of-home digital media is designed to grab the attention of people who are always on the go. You can now watch your favorite show, Usile Breakfast Show and Dinzaba at 7 on your favorite YouTube channel.
It's simple. You can stream these shows by following these quick, easy steps. Number 1, open YouTube. Number 2, search for Eswatini TV and click on Eswatini TV. Number 3, after you had entered on Eswatini TV, look for Dinzaba or KPS. And while you at it, don't forget to like, subscribe and ring the bell button to get notifications of our video uploads and streams. And lastly, enjoy the stream. Stay home and watch Eswatini TV. Stay safe.
Eye on SADC, telling the African story from an African perspective. This is the only news program bringing you news, views and interviews straight from the countries where it happened. Join me, Ndishishi Hamfungu, as I take you on a journey across Southern Africa. That's on Eye on SADC, news of SADC from SADC.
Emaphoyisa neseve lolu hlelo lwakho loliqhamuka khona embuthweni wembobe lolifundisa kabanti liphindze lixwayise sona phela seve ngato tindzaba tekuvikela bona kuqala.
Thokotela uhlelo lwakho emaphoyisa nesive kuso sikhathi lesisha njalo ngabo lesine ngensimbi yesihlanu ntambama khona la Eswatini TV.
A very warm welcome back to Home Study on Eswatini TV. A very good afternoon if you have just joined us. My name is Nogwazi Dlamini. Right now we are doing Form 4 Religious Education with Mr. Samgeliso Ngumalo, who is already with me in the studio. Also joining me in the studio is our sign language interpreter, Nombumelelo Hadebe. How are you doing today, Samgeliso?
I'm good, Nogwazi. How are you?
I'm doing very, very well. I hope the heat is not too bad for you today.
Yeah. At least there is air outside.
At least. All right. I understand today we're doing the presentation of Jesus in the temple.
Yes, Nogwazi.
All right. What are you expecting your Form 4s to have learned by the end of the lesson?
Okay. Mainly it is that understand the events surrounding the birth of Jesus.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. Form 4s, I hope you are ready for your lesson. And another reminder about our YouTube and our Facebook platforms that we are live right now on both platforms. So you can join us on both those if you can. Samgeliso, you may please begin with your lesson.
Thank you very much, Nogwazi. Good afternoon, dear learner Form 4 at home. Welcome to our today's lesson, Religious Education. Our topic for today, as we have said, is Jesus presented at the temple. Please make sure, dear learner, that you have got your learning materials, which is the learner's book, a pen, notebook, and your RSV Bible. Let us look at the objectives, dear learner. By the end of the lesson, dear learner, you should be able to explain the reasons why Jesus had to be presented in the temple. Describe Simeon's background. Outline the content of Simeon's song. Describe Simeon's character as revealed by the dedication. Describe Anna's background. Explain how Anna's character is revealed through the dedication. Explain the significance of Jesus' presentation in the temple. And lastly, explain the characteristics of Luke's gospel found in the dedication. Let us move on, dear learner. Let us now look at the introduction. Now, dear learner, different people from diverse ethnic groups perform different birth rites for babies. The birth rites differ according to their beliefs and customs. Jews followed the laws that are found in the Torah. Such laws specified what should be done to a person at each stage of life. Hence, we see Jesus being dedicated at the temple. Dear learner, as we said that every nation or every ethnic group has got its own birth rights. Even here in Swaziland or Eswatini, we do have our own rites of passage. For example, dear learner, when a baby is born, it is taken out of the house for the first time and is shown to the moon. Then the baby, it is taken under a tree that has been struck by lightning. Then the naked baby is smoked, and then ancestors are asked to protect the baby. Moving forward, dear learner. Now let us come to the reasons why Jesus was dedicated in the temple. Now let us look at the first custom, which is a purification. It is also found in Leviticus 12 verse 2 to 8. Now here, dear learner, the purification, it was the fulfillment of the Mosaic law requiring the cleansing of a woman from the ritual impurity caused by childbirth. Now, according to Judaism, it is said that every male child that opens the womb, firstborn son of a mother, was to be called holy to God. Now, Levitical law provided that after the birth of a son, a woman would be unclean for 7 days leading up to circumcision. For a further 33 days, she should keep away from all holy things. Male child was to be brought to the temple in Jerusalem for dedication at the completion of the mother's purification. Moving forward, dear Lena. Now we look at the second custom, which is the dedication, which is also found in Exodus chapter 13, verse 2 and verse 5. God instructed the Jews to dedicate all firstborn males, whether human or male. Again, dear Lena, here it is said that the child, the firstborn male that opens the womb of a mother, he was to be called holy to God. They were taken to the temple as sacrifice, but first both human and males could be brought back or redeemed through an offering or sacrifice. Here, dear Lena, 5 shekels were paid to redeem the child back. Then Jesus was taken to the temple for that redemption ritual. His dedication was 40 days after his birth. Moving forward, dear Lena, let us look at the picture there, dear Lena. Now, when the child was presented at the temple, the parents, dear Lena, they were required to bring a lamb which was 1 year old. But if the parents were poor, they were allowed to bring 2 pigeons or turtle doves. As we can see in our picture, dear Lena, there we have got Joseph and Mary, the parents of Jesus, presenting Jesus at the temple. And then we can see Joseph carrying a small cage there. Inside we can see there that those are 2 turtle doves. So that tells us that Joseph and Mary were poor, and then they were able to bring the turtle doves as a sacrifice. Again, dear Lena, it is said that when the parents went to the temple to present Jesus, there are 2 people who recognize Jesus as the Messiah. The first one, it is Simeon, as we can see there, and then the second one, it is Anna. Then, dear Lena, don't worry, we are going to look or we are going to discuss these 2 people as we continue with our lesson. Let us go on, dear Lena. Now, let us look at Simeon's background. Now, we are told that Simeon lived in Jerusalem. No indication is given of his position in life. He was righteous, which means that he was well behaved towards other men. And then also we are told that he was a devout, which means that Simeon was cautious or careful about his religious duties. Then scholars believe he was 113 years old. Luke chapter 2 verse 25 says, day by day, as he lived and worked, he was waiting for the consolation of Israel, which is the coming of the Messiah. He was full of the Holy Spirit. Moving forward, dear Lena. Now, let us look at the content of Simeon's song. By the way, dear Lena, the song of Simeon, it is also called the Nunc Dimittis. Also called the Nunc Dimittis. Now, dear Lena, let us look at each verse. Let us start with Luke chapter 2, verse 29. Lord, now lettest thou servant depart in peace according to thy word. So mainly here, dear Lena, Simeon was saying that he is ready to die peacefully now that he has seen God's salvation. Remember, dear Lena, Simeon was promised by the Holy Spirit that he will not die before he sees the Messiah. So the baby in his arms was a fulfillment of that promise. Moving on, dear Lena, let us look at the next verse. For my eyes have seen thy salvation, which thou hast prepared in presence of all people. Now, he has seen the baby whom God will bring in time, whom God will in time bring salvation. Jesus had come as a savior to redeem all humanity from sin. Now, dear Lena, here, all people, Simeon was referring both to the Gentiles and the people of Israel. Moving forward, dear Lena. Verse 32. A light for revelation to the Gentiles and for glory to thy people Israel. Which means Jesus is light. The effect of this light will be a revelation of God's salvation, not only to the Jews, but also to the Gentiles. Now, dear Lena, here, Israel was going to see the glory of God in its fullest sense when they see the Son of God. Then verse 34, behold, this child is set for the fall and rising of many Israel, and for a sign that is spoken against. Now this means, dear Lena, people will either be drawn to Jesus or reject him. The sign will be that of resistance, contention, and rejection of Jesus and his ministry. Now, here, dear Lena, what we can also say is that the people who are going to reject Jesus will be crushed. And then the people who are going to accept Jesus will find refuge. In other words, we are saying Jesus is the rock of ages. And again, dear Lena, although Jesus is a sign, people will reject him. Moving forward, dear Lena, let us look at verse 35. Verse 35, Simeon's song as we continue. And a sword will pierce through your own soul. Meaning that the sword that will pierce Mary's soul is the death of Jesus. So Mary here is going to see Jesus suffering. And his suffering will not leave her untouched. Moving on, dear Lena. That thought of many hearts may be revealed. Again, dear Lena, Simeon prophesies that the child's coming will bring judgment as well as salvation, as men will be revealed for who they really are in their hearts. Moving forward, dear Lena. Now let us look at Simeon's character. Now, the first one to look at is devout. Though God's word was silent for a long time and there was spiritual drought, he was faithful to God and devoted. Now, remember, dear Lena, that Simeon was promised that he will not die before he sees the Messiah. He had faith. Although prophecies about the coming of the Messiah were long overdue, he believed in the promise in the promise the Holy Spirit has made to him. As I said earlier, that he was promised that he will not die before he sees the Messiah. And again, we are saying Simeon was obedient. He was always led by the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit promised that he will see the Messiah. The Holy Spirit led him to the temple where he eventually met the Messiah. Moving forward, dear Elena, remember in our picture I talked about Anna, and then we are saying Anna is another woman, or it's another person who saw Jesus, and she testified that really Jesus was the Messiah. Now let us look at Anna's background. It is the only woman in the New Testament explicitly described as a prophetess. Her husband died after they had been married only for 7 years. She worshipped, fasted, and prayed in the temple night and day. Thanked God for sending his Messiah. She began to speak about the child to all who were looking for the redemption of Israel. Let us move on, dear Elena. Now let us look at Anna's character. We are told that Anna was prayerful. She stayed in the temple, worshipped, fasted, and prayed day and night. Again, Anna was God-fearing. She maintained sexual purity even though her husband died while she was very young. And then again, Anna was committed, steadfast in her marriage life, and worshipped. He didn't go for a second husband, which shows that she was steadfast in her marriage, and he continued to worship God. Moving forward, let us now look at the significance of Jesus' dedication, or in other words, importance of Jesus' dedication. Now here it welcomes a child into a Jewish family. It is a rite of passage. It fulfills the law. Mary understood that Jesus had to be brought to the temple, not to be redeemed like other firstborn child, but to be offered as a sacrifice to bring salvation to all humanity. It confirmed the identity of Jesus as the Messiah. Now the confirmation, dear Elena, it was done by Anna and also Simeon when Jesus was presented at the temple. Now, dear Elena, let us come to the characteristics of Luke's gospel in the dedication. Now, what we see, dear Elena, now is that one of the characteristics that we are going to start with, it is that it is the gospel of the Holy Spirit. Why do we say it is the gospel of the Holy Spirit? It's because Simeon is portrayed as a man who is in constant communication with the Holy Spirit. Again, we are saying it is, we see the universalism of the gospel. Simeon's song reveals Jesus as salvation that is prepared for all people, including Gentiles. Then the gospel is a gospel of the marginalized. It shows God's love for the poor. Mary could only offer 2 pigeons. Anna is a woman, but also he has an important role in the temple of being a prophetess. Again, we are saying it is gospel of worship and prayer. Simeon sings a song of praise for God's faithfulness. Anna is revealed as a prayerful woman who fasts and worship God day and night. Those are the characteristics of Luke's gospel, dear Lena. Moving forward, now let us come to assessment. Now, I am going to give you this piece of work which I expect you to do. And the question says, explain the significance of Jesus' presentation in the temple. It is 6 marks. Remember, dear Lena, what is expected of you here. You are supposed to give the points and then support with evidence from the Bible. So do not just mention the points. For you to get maximum marks, make sure that you support your point with evidence from the Bible. And dear Lena, the answers are in the lesson as we are going to review the lesson moving forward. Then, dear Lena, let us come to our conclusion and see what we have been talking about to remind each other. So here, dear Lena, in this lesson, we looked at reasons why Jesus had to be presented in the temple. We also looked at Simeon's background. We also looked at Simeon's song, where we outlined it and then we unpacked it. Then we also looked at Simeon's character as revealed by the dedication. We also looked at Anna's background. Then we also looked at Anna's character, significance of Jesus' presentation in the temple, and lastly, the characteristics of Luke's gospel in the dedication. We have come to the end of our lesson, dear Lena. Thank you very much. I hope to see you next time.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much, Samgeli. So we hope we'll see you next time for more religious education. Thank you so much. We hope that you'll have a lovely day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Form 4s do not go anywhere. Up next is your biology lesson with Tembisile Hlachwayo. We'll be right back after this.
The change in technology, out-of-home digital media is designed to grab the attention of people who are always on the go. You can now watch your favorite show, Usile Breakfast Show and Dinzaba at 7 on your favorite YouTube channel.
It's simple. You can stream these shows by following these quick, easy steps. Number 1, open YouTube. Number 2, search for Eswatini TV and click on Eswatini TV. Number 3, after you had entered on Eswatini TV, look for Dinzaba or KPS. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, subscribe and ring the bell button to get notifications of our video uploads and streams. And lastly, enjoy the stream. Stay home and watch Eswatini TV. Stay safe.
Eye on SADC, telling the African story from an African perspective. This is the only news program bringing you news, views and interviews straight from the countries where it happened. Join me, Ndishishi Hamfungu, as I take you on a journey across Southern Africa. That's on Eye on SADC, news of SADC from SADC.
When you choose your adventures, you do so with an open heart and a desire for the unexpected. You embark on journeys to discover new worlds full of wonder. You choose a path to awaken your senses, a world to make you look up and realize just how inspiring this life can be. Arrive and awaken your heart. Explore life in ways only thought possible in your dreams. Discover just how far you go to expand your understanding of life's greatest mysteries. There's just one place on this planet with so much to offer. Now is the time for you to have the royal experience in the kingdom.
Buhle bethu imvelo yethu. Buhle bethu tindzawo tethu. Indalo yashada nemasiko kuhle kwethu. Kuvakasha kwethula umthwalo emahlombe ethu. Hloma ngwane vuka uvakashe indlela uyikhombe etindzaweni tethu. Temvelo nembukiso ungcebeleke uthathe netithombe. Lalela ke nangu sonkondlo waseswatini akutekela ayibeka indzaba ayihlela kuhle kwelijaha lishela ngiyakutshela diningi tindzawo longativakashela hloma ngwane vuka uvakashe la phana lapha kuvakasha kuyayelapha enhlitiyo kanye nemqondo kuyawuphumuda kuqinisa buhlobo nebungane losebundenga ndenga with a trip to Mandenga Falls or a sip among friends of Sibebe Brew on Sibebe Mountain, or perhaps your cup of tea is backpacking and horse riding, sightseeing the seamless streams and springs that stream across the gorgeous valleys of the mountainous kingdoms of Eswatini. We have you covered. Hloma ngwane vuka uvakashe buhle bethu imvelo yethu buhle bethu ngabuthola nasebantwini bethu.
Reports to return my son to me. I'm going to go get him.
Ow, it hurts! Hey, I haven't even touched you yet. Stop being a baby. Kandimba! Get back here! Kandimba! Kandimba! Where are you?
What's with that face? You don't feel well? How did your interview go?
Bad. Really bad.
Well, I'd like to have a cup of coffee, please.
I want to help you out, I really can't.
Your father won't let you.
It's just that at this time, the sales of the store don't justify hiring another person, Auntie.
But if that's the issue, I could work on commission, Sarah. I already proved to you I'm a good
Look,
salesperson.
I'm really sorry, but jobs don't just pop up because people need them.
Maybe you should find someone who feels as lonely as you do. Someone who knows how to spoil you and likes it.
TV license pay and win competition. Fabulous prizes up for grabs. Don't miss out on the TV license pay and win competition. The competition will run from the 30th of September to 10th November 2020. Prizes include set-top boxes, a TV set, DSTV decoders, cash and IT analysis for a winning business. To enter the competition, buy the Times of Eswatini, cut out the filled-in strip and drop it off at any of the Times offices or upload cutout to https://tvlcom.jelele.com. The competition is open to individuals 18 years and older and businesses too. Entrants must be in possession of devices which are capable of communication or transmitting or recording TV signals. The more the entries made, the higher the chances of winning. Terms and conditions apply.
Divers nome kanjani and forget what bothers you the most. On this stage, our dancers fire in their eyes come alive. They explore the fires that lay deep within with different dance moves. On this stage, they claim their space and who they are with sparkles, freestyle, silent and storm dances. All this and more with our vibrant and beautiful presenter, Nikki. Divers Nome Kanjani Season 4 coming soon on Eswatini TV. Sibuko Semaswati.
Your favorite music show is back. We're bringing you the hottest music videos and live studio interviews with your favorite celebrities. We're giving you a front row seat to the latest fashion trends as well as your weekend gig guide. Join us live on social media and call in to send in your shout-outs. Catch This Weekend Eswatini every Friday at 5:30 p.m. live on Eswatini TV.
Sinibusele maswati lamahle kanye nabo bonke bazalwane eveni laseSwatini. Igama lami ngingayandazwane Health Promotions Officer walohlelo lolushasha lolubitwa ngekuthi yi-Faith and Community Initiative kafishane FCI.
Njengoba sisho sobe sikhuluma ngokusebenzisana nebandla. Bafundisi ngisho njalo namabandla anebantu akhiwa abantu lebafikayo lebangela lamaswati lesifuma ngayo. And kuyindlela kuba ngiyona leyo platform lenye lekubonakala ukuthi singayisebenzisa kwabonakala even then ukuthi singayisebenzisa ukuthi sikhone ukuthi sifike kubo bonke abantu.
Ikakhulu lubuke ukuthi bantu basitakale kwekuqala enzabeni yokuthi kwanze umsebenzi wokuvikela igciwane le-HIV la kangwane.
But labantu bebati disclose bona bathi shobona sibanjani baphathekile bathandazelwe labo bantu labo nabativa bangcono bebasithatha hayi ngithiva sengiphilile mina asizange ngisho kanye ndakunika nje good example sibatshela sabayekela amaphilisi.
Namhla ke ngithe ukuthi ukuthatha indvodza into ukuthatha babe ukuthi asade isimo sakhe sengadi ngicoko ukuthi usade isimo sengadi kuze utokhombisa luthando lonalo emndenini wakho utokhombisa luthando lonalo nasemphakathini.
With the change in technology, out-of-home digital media is designed to grab the attention of people who are always on the go. You can now watch your favorite show, Usile Breakfast Show and Tinzaba at 7 on your favorite YouTube channel.
It's simple. You can stream these shows by following these quick, easy steps. Number 1, open YouTube. Number 2, search for Eswatini TV and click on Eswatini TV. Number 3, after you had entered on Eswatini TV, look for Tinzaba or KPS. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, subscribe and ring the bell button to get notifications of our video uploads and streams. And lastly, enjoy the stream. Stay home and watch Eswatini TV. Stay safe.
A very warm welcome back to our viewers and a very good afternoon if you have just joined us. My name is Nogwazi Dlamini and right now we are doing biology with Thembisile Hlatshayo, who is already with me in the studio. How are you doing today?
I'm good, and you?
I'm doing very, very well. Thank you very much. I understand today we're doing movement into and out of cells, right?
Yes.
What are you expecting your Form 4s to have learned by the end of the lesson?
Okay. By the end of this lesson, I expect you guys to be able to define the terms diffusion and osmosis. You should also describe the importance of diffusion of gases and solutes. Also, investigate the factors that influence diffusion. Investigate the effects of osmosis on plant cells in solutions of different concentration. You should also be able to explain the importance of osmosis and water potential gradient on the uptake of water by plants.
All right, thank you so much for that. We're hoping that our Form 4s are ready for this lesson. And a reminder, of course, about our YouTube and Facebook platforms where we are live right now. You can also join us on those. Thank you so much. You may please begin with your lesson.
Okay, thank you. Why learning about movement of substances in and out of a cell? Okay, so after eating food, the food is digested along the alimentary canal. But then the question is, what happens what happens with the products of digestion? Okay, that's one question. At the same time, metabolic reactions produce waste substances as, for example, urea. How are these waste substances able to move out of the cells? Okay, and then you may be wondering, why is this happening? So our lesson today aims to unfold the mystery of how substances move in and out of cells. Okay, then we have learned that the cell is a basic unit of life. We have it is also enveloped by a cell membrane which controls the entry and exit of substances. We also learned that the cell carries out metabolic reactions which require nutrients and oxygen. Also, we learned that waste is produced. These waste substances must leave the cell. Okay, but then how do these substances enter and leave the cell? So that's the question. We have got only 3 processes where substances move out and in of a cell. Namely, we have diffusion, we have osmosis, we have also active transport. Okay, then we will start with diffusion. So when we define diffusion, we define it as the movement of particles from a region of higher concentration to a region of their lower concentration down a concentration gradient. So with diffusion, it is a passive transport. What do we mean by that? This type of a process happens without the need for energy. So no energy is required for substances to move by diffusion. Okay, so substances only diffuse from one region to another if there is a concentration gradient between the 2 regions. What will bring about the concentrations? Remember, we said the particles here, they are moving from their region of higher concentration to their region of lower concentration. So these 2 regions, they create the concentration gradient. Okay, then we'll start with diffusion in liquids. So we have an example of potassium permanganate, which when you put it in water, in fact, let us look at the video that will follow so that we can discuss it together. Let us take a short break.
Yes, Tembisile, you're right. Can we please take a bit of a commercial, infomercial break? Viewers at home, we'll be right back after this.
When you choose your adventures, you do so with an open heart and a desire for the unexpected. You embark on journeys to discover new worlds full of wonder. You choose a path to awaken your senses, a world to make you look up and realize just how inspiring this life can be. Arrive and awaken your heart. Explore life in ways only thought possible in your dreams. Discover just how far you go to expand your understanding of life's greatest mysteries. There's just one place on this planet with so much to offer. Now is the time for you to have the royal experience in the kingdom.
Welcome back to Home Steady. Just before the break, we were just about to look at an experiment that Thembisile is going to explain to us what it is about. I think that experiment is ready for us now. We may take a look at it.
Experiment shows the diffusion of potassium permanganate in water. So when we prepare it, you need just a crystal of potassium permanganate. You take a tube, you put it in the water. So you use that tube to put the potassium permanganate crystal. Okay, as you can see, the color of the potassium permanganate is purple. So you remove the tube gently. You can see the purple color. But then look at the entire beaker there. We can see that the purple color is spreading in the water. So this simply means that the particles of potassium permanganate are moving from their region of higher concentration to their region of their lower concentration through a concentration gradient. Okay, so this example is demonstrated in liquids. So why are these particles able to move? It's because, if you can remember very well, we talked about the particle theory of matter, that particles in a matter, they are always in constant movement. So the particles, they collide with each other. Particles of potassium permanganate colliding with that one of the water. So that brings about the movement of the particles. Okay, also let us look at the diffusion in gases. So we will look at a short video that shows us diffusion in gases. So this experiment, we have ammonia solution. Also, we have got hydrochloric acid. So between the two ends of the glass tube, we have put some 2 litmus papers. We have got the blue litmus paper and red litmus paper. Remember, we said that ammonia changes red litmus paper blue, and hydrochloric acid changes blue litmus paper red. So then we take cotton buds, we soak them with ammonia solution, and also the other end we put a soaked cotton wool, which is soaked with hydrochloric acid. As we can see, the changes in the litmus papers, the one that is changing from red to blue is the one that is placed near ammonia solution. The other one on the other side, it is changing from blue to red. So in that cotton, we have soaked hydrochloric acid. So as you can see, the change in the litmus paper is brought about diffusion in gases. So with the hydrochloric acid, seeing that one changing from blue to red, it means that it is detecting a gaseous form of hydrogen chloride, which is acidic. And then on the other end, we have seen the litmus paper changing from red to blue. So that showed us that ammonia solution, so the gas that is involved in that cotton with ammonia solution is ammonia. So as the gases move, they come to a point whereby now they collide with each other, forming ammonium chloride. So we have seen in the video, there was a cloudy or a smoky substance in the glass tube. So that shows where the two meet, the ammonia gas with the hydrogen chloride. So that forms ammonium chloride. Okay, Then let us look at the factors affecting the rate of diffusion. So we will first look at the particle size. The particle size. So the larger the particles, the slower the rate of diffusion. So this simply means that with smaller particles, the diffusion rate will be faster. Okay, then we also look at temperature. So temperature also affects the rate of diffusion. So how does temperature affect the rate of diffusion? The higher the temperature, the higher the rate of diffusion. Okay, then we move on to the surface area. So with the surface area, the smaller the surface area, the faster the rate of diffusion, and the larger the surface area, the slower the rate of diffusion. So if you can remember very well, in our experiment whereby we're diffusing potassium permanganate in water, we used a small beaker. If we can take the same size of potassium permanganate particle and put it in a larger beaker, it will take a longer time for the water to be completely dyed, to be completely purple. So this has to do with the surface area. Now the particles have to travel a long way. Okay, also the concentration gradient. So here how it affects diffusion. The steeper the concentration gradient, the faster the rate of diffusion. Remember, concentration gradient, we said that it is brought about the concentration of the particles. So we have got a higher concentration and lower concentration. So then this creates a concentration gradient. So if the gradient is steeper, the diffusion will be fast. Okay, then let us look at diffusion in living organisms. You are a living organism. So gases from air diffuse into cells through the cell membrane. Through the cell membrane, they dissolve in water in the cytoplasm. So we learned when we were looking at the structure of a cell that a cell consists of the cytoplasm. So now you know that when gases diffuse into cells, they dissolve in the water which is in the cytoplasm. So they diffuse through the cell in solution. So this means that all these gases now in the cell, they are found in solution. Okay, then coming to plants. To plants, there is a higher concentration of carbon dioxide outside the leaf. So remember, we need this carbon dioxide so that the plant can be able to carry out photosynthesis. So how carbon dioxide reaches the plant? The carbon dioxide molecules will diffuse into the leaves down a concentration gradient. So we say that it's higher concentration on the outside of the leaf. We have got lower concentration in the inside of the leaf. So then also, oxygen diffuses out since there is a higher concentration of oxygen inside the leaf than in the air. So we know that the products of photosynthesis, one of them is the oxygen. But then animals need this oxygen for respiration. How the oxygen is able to reach the atmosphere? It is through diffusion. So as we have seen here, after it has been produced by photosynthesis, then it leaves the leaf by diffusion. Okay, then this diagram here shows us what really happens in plants during photosynthesis. So we have got this is a diagram which shows the gaseous exchange in plants. We have got this arrow showing us that carbon dioxide is entering, and it is entering through the stoma, so that it carries photosynthesis in the chloroplast. And then when oxygen is produced, we can see the arrow of oxygen here is pointing outside. Oxygen is being is being removed from the leaf through the stomata by that, but then this happens because it diffuses out of the leaf. Okay, then also we have got the gaseous exchange in animals during respiration. Okay, we have looked at the structure of a cell. We talked about the mitochondria. We said that the mitochondria is a powerhouse, so it is responsible for aerobic respiration. But then for respiration to take place, there must be oxygen. So that oxygen enters the cell so that it carries out respiration. After respiration, carbon dioxide is produced. So carbon dioxide has to leave the cell. So it leaves the cell by diffusion. So oxygen diffuses into the red blood cells in the blood capillaries in our lungs. And then the carbon dioxide diffuses out from blood into the alveoli to be exhaled from the body. So the gaseous exchange here happens in the lungs. But these gases, they come from the cells, okay? And then we move on. This is a picture which shows us what I've just talked about, the exchange in gases. We have got inspired air that we breathe in. The air is entering. So when we breathe in, the air that we breathe in contain oxygen. So the oxygen then diffuses into the red blood cells. These are the red blood cells. We call this one the blood capillary. So after it has carried out respiration in the to be excreted by the kidneys. Okay. Then now that we have looked at diffusion, let us look at osmosis. Remember, we said there are three processes: diffusion, osmosis, active transport. Okay, with osmosis, it is defined as the net movement of water molecules from a region of higher concentration, simply higher water potential, to a region of lower concentration through a partially permeable membrane. So here, osmosis is a special kind of diffusion because this one only specializes with water molecules. Okay, also osmosis is a passive transport. So we simply mean that it doesn't need any energy for it to happen. Okay, then concentration of water molecules in an area is expressed as the water potential. So once there is a concentration of water molecules, that is termed as water potential. So what we mean by water potential is the tendency of water molecules to move by osmosis. Okay, then we have got a diagram here that illustrates osmosis. We have got a dilute sugar solution. A dilute sugar solution has got more water molecules. And then we have got a concentrated sugar solution. Between a concentrated sugar solution and dilute sugar solution, we have got this part here. So this part here represents the membrane. So remember we said the membrane is partially permeable. So the membrane is selective. It lets some substances to pass through but not others. So this one here will only allow the water molecules to pass through it. That is why we say it is selective. So because we have got more water molecules on this side, and then we have got less water molecules on the concentrated sugar solution, the water molecules will move by osmosis to the other side. Okay, then looking at the concentration gradient, now we can see here there is a steep line that is drawn. So this arrow here shows how the diffusion happens. So it's the direction of the diffusion. Remember, we said this region here has got more water molecules than the other region. So the concentration gradient is steeper. We have got more water molecules than the other region. So that creates a gradient between the two regions. Okay, then we demonstrate osmosis in the laboratory. by using a concentrated sugar solution, which is filled into whisking tubing. And then in the whisking tubing, we have got sugar solution. Then outside, we have got water. We have got water outside. So what will happen? There is a special feature about the whisking tubing. Whisking tubing will only allow water molecules to enter through it. So the whisking tubing is like a cell membrane here now. Okay, at first, this was the level of the concentrated sugar solution. But then after some time, water has moved from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. That gave rise to the level of the concentrated sugar solution. So now this is the new level of the sugar solution. So this means that water has diffused into the whisking tubing by osmosis. Okay, and then looking at osmosis and plant cell. Now you have got a plant cell. A plant cell, you put it in a solution. So remember the cytoplasm and cell sap inside the vacuole, we said they contain dissolved minerals and mineral salts, giving it a certain water potential. So if a plant cell is placed in a hypotonic solution, what do we mean by hypotonic? It's a solution that has got a low concentrated, low solute concentrated or water concentrated solution. So here I've made an example of water. So we all know that water has got more water molecules. So such a solution is said to be hypotonic. So if you put a plant cell in this type of a solution, the plant cell will take in water by osmosis through the permeable cell wall. Then the semi-permeable or partial permeable membrane into the vacuole. So now here we have got two features. We have got the cell wall. We also have the cell membrane. So the cell wall will allow everything because that one is permeable. And then when it comes to the cell membrane, that one now is semi-permeable. So it is selective. So the water will enter the cell by osmosis. Okay, then what will happen to the cell as the water enter the cell by osmosis? The vacuole will increase in size. So if the vacuole increases in size, it pushes the cytoplasm even harder, increasing the pressure inside the cell. So when the pressure is increased inside the cell, that pressure is termed as the turbo pressure. So remember now the vacuole has increased in size. So then the cell wall is much stronger than the membrane. So why is it stronger than the membrane? It contains cellulose fibers, so it restricts further expansion of cell membrane, thus preventing plant cell from bursting. So the cell feels tight and firm. So it's said to be turgid. Yes, the turgid cells help support the plant. Okay, and then also in a hypertonic solution, this one has got a high concentration of solutes. So the water molecules will move out of the cell by osmosis. As the water molecules move out of the cell by osmosis, the vacuole and the cytoplasm will shrink. So that shrinkage, so it means that it stops pushing the cell membrane as hard against the cell wall. So the pressure inside decreases. So the cell membrane will then shrink away from the inside of the cell. So that will result to a process known as plasmolysis. So the cell is said to be plasmolysed. Okay, so then you at home, we have learned about the processes that are used by the cell to move substances in and out. We have talked about osmosis. We have talked about diffusion. Okay, then we have seen some examples of diffusion in living organisms, including plants and animals. So this means that in our next lesson, we will further look at osmosis, because we have only talked about osmosis and plant cell. But then what about an animal cell? Okay, our next lesson, we also cover that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Tembisile, for that. We're hoping to see you soon for more biology, of course.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, viewers at home. Please do not go anywhere. Lerato and myself will be right back after this. That was the last lesson for the day. Unfortunately, we have come back to the end of the show. What can you say about today?
Today was fantastic. Thank you guys for watching. And speaking about learning, sorry, I almost said thank you for watching, but then Gwazi, can you please give us tomorrow's timetable?
Yes, this is what y'all's day looks like tomorrow, which is a Wednesday afternoon from 2 p.m. until 2:30 p.m. We have general studies for the grades 1 and 2. From 2:30 p.m. until 3 p.m. we have English language for grades 3 and 4. From 3 p.m. until 3:30 p.m. we have Eswatini for the grades 3 and 4. From 3 p.m. until 4 p.m. we have English language for Form 1s and 2s. From 4 p.m. until 4:30 p.m. we have chemistry for the Form 4s. And the last lesson for the day is Eswatini for the Form 4s from 4:30 p.m. until 5 p.m.
Yes, dear viewer, we also have social media platforms, which are YouTube and Facebook, where we are live from 2 p.m. until 5 p.m. And please do not forget to click that subscribe button so that whenever we are live, you get a notification.
Thank you so much for watching. We will see you guys tomorrow, 2 p.m. sharp. Bye!
Bye, guys.